Welcome to the Beauty Business Strategies Podcast. I'm Christy Hardy, and today I'm joined with Neil Ducoff, the founder of Strategies. Welcome, Neil.
Nice to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. We're going to talk to Neil today about the team-based pay business model and strategies. And really, I want to get to know from the founder the why. Why team-based pay? Why strategies? Why did you decide this was something that we needed to do in our industry?
So to answer that, we have to take a trip down memory lane.
All right, let's go.
There we go. What many of you may not realize is I was a salon owner. Went to beauty school, got out of beauty school, worked for the Glenby Company, was a department store chain, went through the training with the Chadwicks. That was my start in the business. I was working in a Glenby salon. I was making 45%. I was busy as heck, and I had a waiting list.
Wow.
I wanted more money.
Yeah.
I was stuck. And that hey, I'm making 45%, whatever percent, and I hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
Is what we hear owners say all
Even
the time.
today, yeah.
So back in 1973, when I opened my first salon in Edison, New Jersey, I did what Glenby was doing. Hey, they had 1,200 salons. Figure they know what they're doing.
Right.
So, but I said, I think 50% is fair.
Oh, how'd that go?
Half for them, half for me. And again, I was 23 years old,
Right.
and there was more excitement than planning and knowledge.
Right.
And I opened up my first salon, 20 feet wide, 80 feet long. And about 6 months into it, the accountant comes in, does the books and everything, and goes, hey, you lost money.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And it's like, I've been working our butts off here. And I start looking through, the P&L. I had been going to this Redken Challenge of Success, and, they would talk about financials and stuff like that. But I really dove into the financials. I go, you can't work, even though we're only 6 months old, you can't work as hard as we are. And I was working 6 days, 3 nights.
Oh, wow.
I also began to resent how hard I'm working.
Yeah.
And I got people hanging out in the back complaining about me.
Right.
Or whatever they were complaining about.
Yes.
But it makes the story better to say the employees are in the back and they're complaining about the boss. And it's like, okay, I gotta do something to the pay.
Yeah.
50% isn't sustainable, and then I'm looking at the 45%. And I go, okay, so if I lower it to 45, that's going to be a fun staff meeting.
Right.
So, how do I do that? So without getting stuck on all that, I did what I would refer to as a very rude, crude conversion from commission to hourly. So nobody got a pay cut. We put a cap on the payroll, and then the conversation shifted to what do we have to do?
Awesome.
And started to move away from how much does each person have to do. Now, I was on a call this morning with a very sharp owner, just talking about her company, and she used that language. Well, my people are telling me, I got some people making, $100,000 a year, and hey, I'm at 45% and I hit the ceiling. I can't make anymore. Well, you got 2 hands, X number of hours available, and so what do we do? I mean, some in the industry have done hire an assistant.
Right.
Double book, triple book.
Right. Work them to the bone.
Yeah, and yeah, you can jam more through, but to me, that didn't represent the level of service that I wanted to deliver. And because you're doing Frederick Fekkai, I'm doing $500 7-minute haircuts. Yeah, but not everyone's Frederick Fekkai.
Yeah.
So just looking at the salon model, I began to question it. I questioned commission because it was everyone's trying to build their own book.
Right.
I know when I opened the salon, all the customers that I did at the previous place, through some miracle, found me. And I didn't want my company to get blown up because someone decided to leave. And I also worked very hard at the culture, and I still communicate with people that worked for me back in the 70s, and they still remember that as a really exciting time.
Nice.
That it was, just things were, the way we all worked together, it was different. So didn't call it team-based pay way back when. And so going back to the early mid-70s, my mind just completely moved away from the commission model because you can't control your payroll when you're paying a commission. Even if you have sliding scales, there's still an average commission that you're paying, and that average is what your service payroll is on your profit and loss statement. And it still comes out to a percent. And on commission, if the sales are up, the percent stays the same, and it sucks all that additional revenue before you have a chance to say, hey, but the rent went up.
Right.
I was talking to an owner last week who said, this product company, you'll know who, but this product company, they're raising their prices
Again,
twice a year.
It's every 6 months.
Twice a year.
I heard that too.
So what do? You're going to do price increases twice a year just to cover your product charge? So when you're stuck with a fixed percent payroll, you can't control the thing. You can't make adjustments. Listen, we need revenue to go up a bit so we can cover the increased cost of doing business, which has really gone up in this past year with inflation and whatnot. Rent, just everything across the board is up. And then it comes back to what I said at the beginning. What about people that are book solid and they have a waiting list? How do they make more money? Yeah. Industry response: raise their prices.
Yeah.
All right, great. So now you got 10 people working in the salon, just pick the number, and you've got 4 or 5 different price points.
Right.
How much is a haircut? Well, they're from here to here. How much do you want to spend? We've got someone for you.
Right.
But that and the higher price would support more income based on the commission rate. I know people that do the sliding scales. It doesn't matter. It still comes out to when you pay commission, it becomes a fixed service payroll percent on your P&L. Sales go up, payroll's up. Sales go down, thank God payroll's down.
Right.
But then you have people that are book solid. How do they make more money? Yeah, you can certainly raise the prices, but they got to start double booking, triple booking? That doesn't make sense. Isn't there a value to doing consistently great work?
Yes.
You love the work that you do? Come to our company and do consistently great work, and we're going to polish your sword a couple times a year with some new education so you can get better and whatnot. And then we're also going to prepare new people to come in so they can perform to your level faster. So here's the thing. If on team-based pay, if revenue goes up because the payroll doesn't go up just because revenue went up, it creates a gap that allows you to come back and reward people that help the company grow.
Right.
If the whole team was doing great, I want to do raises across the board. If a couple people were doing great and we need to recognize them, I can give them a raise. How about the front desk?
Right.
You know, most important people in the company, they control your appointment book and the productivity rate and then. Yeah, and what are you paying them?
Right. Right.
So, you know, you can direct more money to where it matters.
Needs to be, yeah.
But you don't have the options in a commission environment to say, I want to give a raise, or you can pay more commission, but nobody can pay more commission today.
No.
If anything, you got to find a way to lower it. But have that staff meeting. I always say, if you're going to lower your commission, videotape it and send me the video so I can sit and watch it with a bag of popcorn. Because it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. So, you know, when prior to Strategies, I was editor-in-chief of a company that published Cutter magazine. And I started going out in the early mid-'80s teaching this salary class and how to pay differently, but just not commission.
Yeah.
And people started listening to that. When I started Strategies in 93, that's when we started to, okay, what is this thing really? Because it's really not salary, salary exempt from overtime and what there's labor law conditions for all that. So if you really looked at it, we need a team of people working to grow the company.
Right.
So everyone has an opportunity to do well. And for those people that are book solid, they have an opportunity to get raises even though they physically can't produce more.
Right.
Listen to what I just said. They can get raises even though they didn't bring in more.
That's such an incredible concept, isn't it?
It's the company brought in more.
Yeah.
So what's happening is on commission, busy people get busy and busier and busier until their book is full.
Yeah.
And then their income levels off, and then the company starts growing around them. Mm-hmm. But they're not growing.
Right.
Or maybe they're growing incrementally. And on team-based pay, if the company is growing, and we use language like everyone's responsible for every hour the company has available for sale. Mm-hmm. It's, wow, we just hired 2 new people, and we have to get 2 more columns on the book full.
Right.
In a commission salon, you hire 2 new people, and it's like, those rat bastards are going to get all my new customers.
Right. Column vision, right?
They're the enemy. They're not part of the team. Team-based pay says, let's get them busy so we can grow the revenue, build the brand, so we can all do better.
Truly building a team.
But it takes a different type of leadership, and it takes a different level of understanding critical numbers and financials, and that's all the additional things that to do a great job and reap the benefits of team-based pay, you've got to become a more well-rounded owner.
Right.
Well, I hate numbers. Well, then don't do team-based pay. You know, and by the way, numbers are easy. Dollars in, dollars out, dollars left, and there's some percentages in there, but none of it is hard. You just need to understand, you know, your first haircut wasn't that great, was it? No. Good. Well, the first time you read financials, you don't know what you're looking at.
Truth. Very true.
So, you know, but we can help you with that. So team-based pay was it evolved into a business model, you know, and then there's all the stuff in the industry that people, you know, well, how can you pay everyone the same hourly rate? You don't pay everyone. How could you pay everyone the same hourly rate?
That is a true nice myth out there about team-based pay, isn't there?
You can't pay everyone the same hourly rate.
Yes.
You know, if you're a commission salon and you convert to team-based pay, the conversion is based on their kind of an average of their last 6 months without going into the fine details. It's based on an average of what they were making per hour on commission. That's the jumping off point for team-based pay.
Do people ever get a pay cut when there is a conversion to team-based pay?
You can't do a pay cut. A pay cut is commission mentality. A pay cut says, commission is, I'm fine paying you more when you're bringing in more, and I'm not happy about it, but if you're bringing in less, thank God I'm not paying you more.
Yeah.
On team-based pay, it's, hey, you gotta bring in the numbers, and hey, but if the numbers go down and you're still paying them what they were making on higher sales, how long are you going to let that happen before you go, hey, it's been one pay period and, you seem to have gone into a mental coma and your sales are way down. I can't pay you this, for this. I want to pay you this for that.
Right.
But on commission, how many people, their sales come down and they're making less money and you don't feel the pain as much.
True.
And it goes on so long.
Yeah.
You let it continue, and then you get disgruntled employees and then they leave and all the other nonsense that happens. But in team-based pay, if they're not performing, if their retention rate is down, if pre-book is down, if retail sales aren't there, if the attitude is bad, if they won't come to education, if they're not present at meetings, whatever the issue is, you can't keep paying them for what you're not, for what they're not giving back to the company. And if you do a pay cut, you're in the commission mentality of, hey, if you're busy, I'll pay you, but if you're not so busy, I want to pay you less.
Yeah, yeah.
Which gets us stuck in the, can you sweep the floor? I'm not paid to do that. Can you help someone out with that? Hey, we got Mrs., the stylist is running behind, your teammate's running behind. Can you help can you help with the foil?
Yeah.
Well, what piece am I going to get?
Right. Yeah, you totally don't get that.
And it just, on commission, it's, what do I get?
Yeah.
What piece do I get? Am I paid for that? On team-based pay, can you sweep the floor? I'm not paid for that. Oh, yes you are. Because you're paid for every hour you're in the company.
Yes.
Which also says you can't have, to grow a company, you can't have people coming and going as they please.
True.
Not to be mean or nasty or not be sensitive to flexible work schedule, but hey, I don't have anyone till 1 o'clock. I won't be into 1:15. You can't run your company if the hours keep disappearing.
Truth.
So team-based pay is a complete business model. The pay is just the foundation.
Yeah.
The hourly rate is the foundation. It's about consistency.
Yep.
It's about growing the company. It's about, listen, if you can go from 600,000 to 700,000 or 800,000, you have, for every 100,000 in revenue, there's another 30 to 35,000 or so available for payroll to hire new or give raises.
Yeah.
Hey, so if we can increase revenue, the company revenue, 100,000, 200,000 this year, that's, $60,000, $70,000, $35,000 per 100 that we would have available to pay more. To pay more. And then a lot has to do with managing the productivity rate.
Yes.
That's why pre-book. That's why frequency of visit. That's why first-time retention and existing client retention. The better we drive our critical numbers, the higher we can drive revenue, the more the company can afford to pay. But we have to do the work and work together, and it's not just what's on your column, it's being responsible for every hour that's on all the other appointments, schedules. That's team-based pay. Everyone's responsible. But it takes leadership. That's why daily huddles, scoreboards. Where are we at? Everyone needs to know the game. And we know when we do pay conversions, their owners, so you want me to like do a scoreboard and everyone's going to see what the goal is for the company for the month? Yeah. Oh, I don't want them to know that. Well, how are you going to grow a company if you don't keep score?
Right. True.
What are we playing for? Just hit your number, or can the company hit its number?
Right. We've got to get that mindset.
It's a different mode of thinking.
Yeah.
It takes engaged leadership. It takes a better understanding of leadership.
Yeah.
You need to have the financial discipline. Very easy. You just got to get into the rhythm. But we've got a lot of systems that can help owners do that. And what they find 6 months in, 9 months in, a year in, that even the customers see it and
Absolutely.
feel, I don't know what you're doing different, but this place is...
It feels better, right?
It feels different.
Yeah, the vibe is very different. So one myth that I hear a lot, or a question that I get from owners a lot is, if I were to convert to this team-based pay or start taking on some of these things, it just feels like so much work. What's your response to that question of why is it so much work?
It's the work you should have been doing anyway.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
So if you're an owner and you're behind the chair 40, 50, 60 hours a week or in the treatment room, you've got to rethink that.
Yeah.
And someone needs to run the company. And someone, you can still do services, but you got to pay attention to the business.
Yes.
And, cash flow plans are not optional. Monthly financials, P&L, balance sheet, critical numbers. It doesn't take much time, an hour or so a week devoted to looking at your numbers to see that you're making the right progress. It's not hard.
No.
It's not hard. But you can't be, if you're trying to grow a company one column at a time, that's not team-based pay.
No, not at all.
Growing a company, a brand, client loyalty to the brand, a great staff that comes to work to do consistently great work without the competition between service providers, chairs, treatment rooms, or whatnot.
Yes.
It's a better way to do business, but you got to have the right systems in place to make it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have any recommendations for owners who are feeling like they're struggling to find systems to be able to engage their team differently because of scuttlebutt, because of communication out there, because of our industry in general? Any tips, tricks, or recommendations for owners on how to start that communication with their team?
I would urge all owners, even ones that have been on team-based pay for a long time, because you can drift. Answer the question, what are you building?
Yes.
Just get back to what are you building and why are you building it? And answer that question with, as we like to call it, absolute clarity.
Yep.
Because when you focus in on what you're building, what do you want it to be for the client? And when you start looking at what are you building? What do you want it to be for the client? What do you want it to be for the employees?
Right.
What do you want it to be for you?
Yes.
So it's not just a job. You want to have some freedom and you want to reward financially and time, for what it takes to grow a company and deal with all the stuff. Because it's a lot of work. But commission, that whole thing, you're going to be at the bottom of your boat in the hull, plugging holes.
Yes.
And sometimes you're plugging them as fast as they happen.
Truth. Very
And
true.
on team-based pay, those holes can be plugged and capped.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you're not going to get new holes. I mean, you're going to spring leaks every now and then. But with the full team-based pay business model, you're plugging those holes and they can stay capped as long as you stay on your game.
Absolutely.
Remember that part of the end game is, you're going to want to sell someday.
Yes.
And how do you create the value to make your business saleable? And a buyer is going to be more willing to pay a premium for a company that built a brand and has a customer base loyal to the brand than buying a commission company where the clients are loyal
to the
service providers, that if they don't like the new owner, they can relocate. Hey, I just bought an empty salon. Isn't this great?
This is great. Some nice chairs. Absolutely. Wow. Well, team-based pay for me was something that truly allowed me to lead in a way where I was making a difference for my team members. It was always about the client experience, but for me personally, I wanted to make sure that my internal customer was taken care of at a very high level. And that included things like health insurance. It included paid time off. It included paid education. All of those things that a 401k, things that our industry doesn't really have the ability in a commission base, because all the money's gone, to be able to provide. And for me, that was an incredible way to make sure that I was leaving a legacy for the next people who were coming into our business. So I thank you for creating team-based pay and getting the word out to our industry that there are ways to do business differently and better so that we can all have success in this beautiful industry.
If you're looking at your company and it's springing leaks and you have a high frustration level in your company as an owner, and you'd like to build a better tomorrow, you gotta look deeper at what you're doing and how you're doing it. And at the very below the foundation of the footings.
Yes.
A foundation is built on the footings. And if the footings aren't solid, the foundation can't hold up your company. Team-based pay, in truthfulness, it's the footings that you build your company on.
So true.
And because the footings create the strength for the company, it creates the longevity for the company, it creates the opportunity for the company that, and again, commission, it's that, there's a reason the industry has a rich, grand history of employee turnover.
Yes.
And walkouts.
Yeah.
And walkout is, part of it is you can trace it back to commission, you trace it back to contaminated culture, toxic cultures, you can trace it back to a leader that was a better technician than they were a leader.
Yep.
Or, couldn't manage the cash.
Yeah.
Get the footings in right.
Yeah.
Team-based pays. To really reap the benefits, you've got to implement the system and stick with the system, refine the system, and you just start to move away from all the commission madness.
Mindset. Yeah, absolutely. Neil, this has been awesome. Thank you. If you would like more information about how you can get education and build your business as a team-based pay salon or spa, please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. And Neil, thank you for not only for today, but for creating strategies and the team-based pay business model. We appreciate you.
Make a difference.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks again for listening to the Beauty Business Strategies podcast. If you like this episode, be sure to hit follow to learn more about how strategies can help create more fun, profit, and growth potential for you, your company, and your team. We invite you to schedule a free 60-minute strategy session by clicking the direct link in the description of this episode.